The absence of abundance is the absence of God. And this world is set up in a way that we need or require money in order to survive. And there are people who have figured out how to rise above their consciousness, rise above their limiting beliefs, rise above social or societal conditioning, rise above their parents and teachings and school and stuff like this, and been able to make a lot of money. In fact, a lot of college and school dropouts have become really successful, and very rarely do you find people that are highly successful who have been able to basically have that amount of money based on their parents and having a silver spoon in their mouth.
I feel like I have the tools, and I've seen things shift actively since working with Jaden and Gavin, to the point where I'm making high ticket sales and I am actually talking to the people that need my help the most.
A lot of success has been created from people coming from the bottom all the way to the top. And this is a beautiful thing. And we live in a reality that keeps us away from abundance because of our conditioning. The truth of the matter is, God is complete abundance. And it's only our ego dualistic thinking that keeps us away from abundance. Money is a game when you understand how to play it. Yes, we're in the matrix and we're dealing with money and we need it to survive. And all we have to do is learn to play the game. Does God actually hate money or hate poverty? Not in actuality. There is no hate coming from God. God just is. There is no judgment. However, poverty is far away from what God is, even though everything is God. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but in the spiritual realm, things behave differently. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. It equals whatever it's going to be. And so when we are moving further and further away from the truth, we get to experience things like lack. And so what if us as human beings are far away from the truth when we are experiencing poverty? And what if the world is set up in such a way where the people in power are conditioning us to be further and further away from the truth by promoting to us ego-based desires and wants in our material success, money, cars, and all of this stuff. But not only that, our desires sexually, keeping us in a low vibrational frequency and keeping us in the frequency of thinking. Many people are suffering with depression and anxiety and worries and fears. These are low vibrations on the map of consciousness. And the more that we acknowledge this and realize this, we will realize that we are trapped in the matrix and what life has presented to us. And we saw it happening during the COVID era, people becoming sheep to the government, right? The government is a system that governs the minds. And when people can govern the minds, they can govern the world. And we have to learn to come back to our sovereignty, come back to our power, and realize the truth beyond the mind, beyond the truth. It's kind of counterintuitive, but chasing more money and chasing more success actually keeps us away from the truth when we're not realizing what the truth is. However, if you realize the truth and you go after money, then you are in a state of awareness, presence, samadhi, isness, and you are bringing God into the world rather than the world telling you how to move through it. No government, no politician, no king or whatever you want to call it is going to share with you this kind of information because they want to remain in power, which is a megalomaniac approach to life. We have to begin to break down and peel back the onion layers of our conditioning and get back to the truth and step into pure awareness or pure consciousness and seeing it for what it is. And that we are sort of like the puppet controller of this vehicle that we call the body and the mind and the emotions, and that we are the truth behind it all. And once we all step into that level of consciousness and level of awareness, we will become one again. And we will realize our true power in this world, and we're bringing more God onto the planet, which is why I think that we are here, is that there's been low density frequencies, and us chosen ones, or whatever you want to call us, are here to bring higher levels of consciousness to this reality so that we can raise the vibration of the planet and transcend back to the truth. Is this world bad, or is this world evil? No, it's just further away from the truth. When you go and learn about manifesting and learn about reality creation and stuff like this, it's not just about you. It's about realizing that not only will you be able to step into the God frequency, which is what I teach in my Awaken program, and you'll be able to manifest using the God frequency. You'll also be able to help other people. Well, I don't like the word help, I like the word support. And you'll start to shift the vibration of the planet. So just to be clear here, God is just naturally love and abundance, and you have that inside of you right now. It's just that your brain is getting in the way. You are abundance literally right now. You are the success that you want right now. Your brain and your ego is telling you otherwise, and that's why you're projecting it constantly into your reality and manifesting the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. This is why things like visualization and affirmations and stuff like that often doesn't work for a lot of people. It does for some people, but some people are not able to see results with that, because you are only conditioning the mind and conditioning the ego once again. And God is inviting you to realize the truth, that this is not about programming the mind necessarily, even though I do those things and I help other people do those things. It's more about realizing that you are programming the mind. The real you is programming the mind to facilitate steering the boat into outcomes that align with God, not only for your ego. And so behind it all is love, is God, is truth, is abundance. And when you transcend the ego, you will realize that, and you'll experience that, and you'll realize that you don't need to manifest anything, because you are everything. And that you just need to choose which reality you're going to be in and get out the way. And once you get out the way, things can flow to you more naturally and more easily. So poverty is an illusion created by the ego, by dualistic thinking, by thinking right and wrong, up and down, left and right, with the ego. Okay, the heart already knows the truth. And when we can acknowledge that there are people in this world who are so focused on power, so focused on success, so focused on survival, that it hurts other people indirectly, and other people suffer in the world because of that. And so this competition and comparison and needing to be better is a construct that actually hurts us rather than helping us grow, even though there's no such thing as grow. If you look at Mother Nature, you'll see animals fighting, you'll see animals doing things to survive and stuff of this nature. I wouldn't say they are competing or necessarily trying to gain power in their mind and not thinking these things logically, and they're not trying to take over the tribe or anything like that. It's just what is, right? It's just what they are naturally doing. However, us humans or lightmans, we have the power of conscious brain, and we have the power to steer the ship and create the outcomes that we want in our reality. And because of that, we get to steer the ego, right? That gives us this free will ability, this ability to have free will. And free will has caused us to fall short. Again, society will further perpetuate me, I. When you look at Instagram or social media or products that are being promoted on the television or whatever it is, it's all about me, it's all about I, and this further creates separation. So divine beings or God or the universe doesn't intervene, right? And so when there's bad things going on in the world, God doesn't intervene or try to change that because it's functioning on unconditional love. If God was to come in and intervene, then it's now functioning on duality, because it's saying that what is happening is wrong. And so poverty is not to be fixed, it's not to be changed or anything like that. It's more about honoring our free will and realizing that actually I am abundance, right? It's more about becoming aware of the truth. And once you become aware of the truth and other people become aware of the truth, poverty will cease to exist. So how do you break free into abundance? How do you break free into having more money and more success in your life? First, we need to acknowledge that the mind is going to keep you in poverty if you stay there, right? So the first step is to become pure awareness and not labeling yourself as someone who doesn't have a lot of money, not labeling yourself that you struggle to make money. Stop complaining about work. Stop complaining about your 9 to 5. Stop complaining about the governments. Stop having a judgment and emotions around people who make more money than you. Stop and release all these ideas around struggle and realize that all of this is a complete lie. In fact, when those thoughts and emotions arise, you want to be present with them. You want to see them for what they are, just electrical signals flowing through your body. It's you that is identifying with those thoughts and emotions that keep the charge alive. Every time you attach yourself to an emotion, a thought process, you're adding energy to a pendulum. What is a pendulum? Pendulum is an energy force or entity that wants your energy. And the matrix has a multitude of different pendulums. Right now, we're talking about the pendulum of being rich and being in poverty, having abundance or lack. You can see that there's two sides to the equation. And so one might think, okay, I just need to think positive thoughts. I need to think more abundant thoughts. No, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to do nothing and be present with those particular emotions of poverty and even being rich. I know a lot of law of attraction teachings teach to focus on the positive and focus on the money. But what if that is perpetuating a problem in our reality and adding more to a pendulum? And then more and more people are desiring to get rich because now you are rich. And then now there's family members and friends or whatever that want to become rich because you are now rich. Or it creates this contrast where they feel like they don't have enough or like you are better than them and stuff like this. And subconsciously, especially for spiritual people, you can feel that and you can sense that and you know that. And that's why a lot of spiritual people oftentimes have a lack of money or they don't have enough. Sometimes, not all the time. I know there's a lot of people who make a lot of money as well, but you get my gist, right? It feels bad. It feels like a sense of guilt and shame around creating more success and abundance in your life. And so it's putting us further and further in this narrative. And so we want to, instead of giving power to abundance based on the ego, right? Or giving power to poverty based on the ego, right? Instead, you want to just step back and be present and not labeling those things good or bad, bad or evil, right? Or good or God, or whatever it is, right? You're no longer labeling those things at all. Stepping completely back and being present and not giving it any energy. And again, I'm not saying to push it away. Pushing it away is giving it energy. Right? I'm not saying to suppress it. Suppressing it is giving it energy. I'm not saying to avoid it. Avoiding it is giving it energy. You're adding energy to a pendulum. Instead, you just become empty. You want to step into a state of neutrality. The key here is realizing that we give things meaning. And as soon as you give it meaning, you are giving it power. And if you give it power, you've activated a pendulum. And then you get lost in the pendulum, you become a part of the pendulum, and you become a part of the problem of the matrix. When you step back and you step into presence, you step into the now, you step into awareness, and you step into nothingness, you step into the void, which is enlightenment, which is isness, which is God, then you will realize that you are abundance. You will realize that you don't need to chase money. You don't need to chase success. If you are abundant, you don't need to chase success. If you are God, you don't need to chase success. You don't need to go after it. You don't need to take action. Action will take you naturally. Money will take you naturally. Things will show up for you naturally because you are in a state of neutrality and you're not giving things meaning. The law of attraction and spiritual community, manifestation community, is adding to the problem of duality and polarity, and we are moving further and further away from the truth. I know that sounds crazy and backwards. It seems like it's a positive thing, but in actuality, it's causing more problems in the world in a spiritual sense based on our egos, right? Whilst we can create more beauty on the planet by creating more money and having more abundance by contributing, giving to charity and stuff like this, there's also a opposite effect to that for other people subconsciously. It's like right now, you may be looking at me and seeing that I have testimonials. I've helped people all over the world manifest money and success, and YouTube channel, and I work full-time from home and all of this stuff. This can create some feelings and emotions subconsciously and create contrast, being where I am at versus where you're at, and competition, and all of these particular frequencies don't necessarily align with the truth because, again, functioning from the ego, right? And so it's my intention not to put you further into this Alice in Wonderland, the black hole, so to speak, and keep you in this delusion or illusion of the matrix, yet realizing more of who you really are. So the first step here is pure awareness, and that there's nothing to be fixed about the world, about you. Nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be changed. It's just remembering or realizing who you really are and being more in that frequency more often. Despite your lack, despite your flaws, despite what your brain think is wrong with you, despite all of those thoughts and feelings, whatever thought and feeling comes up for you, all of this is a lie. All of it is an illusion, and it's not the truth. All of it is conditioning. When you was a baby, you was innocence. You didn't know anything apart from knowing the truth. You was enlightenment, you was joy, you was peace, you was love. You were the top 4 frequencies on the map of consciousness. Through conditioning, you learned lack, essentially. So stepping back into pure awareness is the first step. The next step here, if you want to create more abundance in your life, one of the most powerful things you can do is invoke the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity is when you give away more than you expect to receive in return. If you want to sell something for $100, figure out a way to give away $1,000 worth of value so the $100 looks like a bargain or looks small. If you want to sell something for $10,000, then figure out how to give away $100,000 worth of value so the $10,000 looks small. This is the law of reciprocity. And in any sense, what you give away, you get to keep. So what you put out, you get back. You've probably heard of this before, the law of karma, right? What goes around comes around. However, when you give away more, right, you are invoking the power of abundance. In terms of this material world, people naturally want to invest, they want to buy, they want to purchase because they feel like they're getting a good deal, and they probably are in this case. And now you're invoking positive karma, and you are allowing for positive energy to flow into your reality. So this doesn't only work with money, it's figuring out how can you give more but in abundance. Okay, so key. I work with so many people over the years and they say, hey, I'm giving, but I'm not getting anything back. That's because you're giving from lack. That's because you're giving from people pleasing. That's because you're giving from, I'm going to be a better person if I give this way. And if you have this narrative that I'm going to be a better person when I give, or that I'm a nice person, or you're in the ego, you're in the mind, you're in lack. And this is what creates lack in your life because you're operating from lack. If you're operating from abundance and you're naturally flowing through God's love, abundance will come back to you. This is what we got to realize, is that you're giving from abundance not because you want to get something, not because you want to gain something, not because you want something out of it, right? This is lack. This is tit for tat. This is how a lot of relationships function. When I give this, then I'm going to give this, right? When you did this, I'm going to do that. Relationships shouldn't function like this. It should be unconditional as much as possible. Although we need to have our boundaries and stuff like this, we want to function on unconditional love in giving. And the more that we can learn how to not be in our minds when we're giving, the more that we're going to be able to experience abundance. Now, we live in a reality of duality and polarity and construct. So you have to construct a system in order to receive what you want back. So what I mean by that is, if I want to create a new business, for example, right? And I'm just putting out YouTube videos in this example, and I don't turn on my AdSense, then I'm not setting myself up to receive anything back, right? If I don't create a product or a service, then I'm not setting myself up to give anything back. Does that make sense? You want to set up a system that allows you to receive, and whenever you receive, you receive. Whenever you don't, you don't. There's no attachment, right? And so if people join or people buy, great. If people don't buy and they don't like it, great, right? There's no needing or wanting things to happen. It's more like I'm giving because I want to give naturally from a place of joy. It's not even a wanting to give. It's just happening through you because you stepped into a state of love. Does it make sense? This is where people are becoming more aware of getting to, but a lot of people still don't understand these concepts. So this is why I want to share them with you. It's like, you're not just going to start the business because you want to make money. As someone who is a spiritual person, inclined in this way, it's more that I want to bring more light from the truth into this world. It's like, I can't help but do this, right? It's coming through me. It's natural. And to do that, again, you have to do the first step, which is step into pure awareness, pure consciousness, Christ consciousness, isness, and then it will happen. The more you practice being present and disconnecting from pendulums and being present with pendulums, the more that you will feel the feeling that I'm talking about, because it's hard to describe, where your ego's not telling you what to do. It's just coming through you naturally. And there's this urge that's coming through you, and you are speaking or working God's work, God's goals, and not goals based on the ego. Now, do I still manifest ego-based goals? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. But first, one needs to realize the truth. So the last thing I want to share with you about abundance is that when it comes, you want to take care of it and you want to circulate it, right? There's a sense of circulation. When you look at Mother Nature, there's circulation in our human body, right? We've got the circulatory system. We've got the breathing in, the breathing out. There's circulation in our reality, circulation in nature. The rain evaporates, goes in the clouds, comes back down, the sea, there's this whole process, and it's always circulating constantly. So when money comes in, when abundance comes in, give it back out, right? And so you can do that in different forms of ways. You can go and fly to another country and help out a country in need or whatever it is. You can go to websites like GoFundMe and give to charity. You can go cook, for homeless people, buy some stuff. Basically, you can do whatever feels natural and abundant to you. Okay, it's got to feel natural. You're not doing it because it's going to allow me to experience more abundance and more success. You're doing it because it feels right. It feels congruent with your soul, feels natural to you, not because you want to gain something or get something and there's something to gain from it. No, I can't help but do this. It's a really deep wish, or whatever name or label you want to put on it. Okay, so you can start off really small, giving 1% of your income, 2% of your income every time you get paid, giving that percentage away. It doesn't mean to be every time you're paid, because sometimes that particular day or month or whatever it is, you're not feeling to give in that way. And maybe you need to step into the energy of receiving. And so listen to that intuition inside of you that you're not just going to give because I feel like giving, I'm supposed to give, because it's like a discipline. You want to be in a state of abundance, that I'm feeling in alignment with this right now, and so I'm going to give. If not, then no. You know, it's the same with like doing visualization or using any law of attraction technique or whatever it is. If it feels like there's there's like lack there, or like it's not working, you're not in presence right now, then don't force yourself to do it. That's not how Mother Nature works necessarily. All right. So these 3 things will definitely help with creating more abundance in your life. So if you would like to learn more about this process of transforming your life and stepping into the God frequency, you can join my Awaken program. The link's in the description.